It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 17th day of September 2021. Coming to you from Bedford County, Central Virginia area. Looks like we might have a little rain today, off and on, but that's okay. Today's show, Friday Travel and Cruise Industry News. Nicholas is still hanging on. My goodness. Will cruise ship from the U.S. skip Canada permanently? MSC Divina sails from Port Canaveral and Regent Seas resumes operations. But we got a couple things to do before we get to that. First, on Monday, I'm going to have a little different guest. I have a gentleman that'll be visiting with us on Monday. His name's Tyree Anthony, known as Ty. He's from Brooklyn. He is. I recently saw a post on Accessible Travel about that he posted on the redesigned accessible sleeper on Amtrak and why he doesn't like it. So we're going to talk about Amtrak travel and the accessibility of the new designed sleeper cars. So now, I'm not even sure what to say about this. Our buddy Martin Cruz Amigo Martin won the Leisure Agent of the Year. I'm just so tickled for him. Of course, that was a gang last night that started in some celebrating and some more celebrating. But Cruz Amigo Martin is the Leisure Travel Agent of the Year. And I'm so thrilled for him, and so much congratulations and love go his way. I'm just tickled on for that one. And let's face it, folks, he's got some splaining to do on Sunday on the Cruise Amigos. He's got some splaining because I want to know why it is that he had so many adult beverages last night that when he got up today, I understand he was still stumbling around a little tipsy. So we're going to make Martin splain about that on Sunday. Seriously, folks, congratulations to Martin. I mean, that's just fabulous. All right, Nicholas. See where that is? Okay. That little red spot there, that's like right up 60 miles west of Lafayette. Now, remember yesterday, it was just right south of that down on the coast. Actually, it was, if you remember, starting yesterday's show, it was actually off the coast in the water. Post-tropical cyclone Nicholas is just kind of aimlessly drifting northwest into western Louisiana. Unfortunately, there's still going to be some more flooding across portions of the central Gulf Coast today and tomorrow. The center of post-tropical cyclone Nicholas was located 40 miles west of Alexandria. That's right near Fort Polk North, folks. If you're familiar with that area, that's where the actual center is. And of course, that doesn't mean anything for this kind of storm, except that it's still rotating somewhat around that pivot point. And because it has gone nowhere virtually, it's still sucking all kinds of moisture up on the dirty side, which of course is the east side, which means anywhere along the Gulf Coast all the way over into Florida now, maybe as far south in Florida as Tampa, could be getting some rain today. That's from Nicholas that's still poking along and over in central Louisiana. It just won't get the hell out of town. So it's moving north about 7 miles an hour this morning, which is a little better than it was doing yesterday. It's expected to continue into tomorrow with much the same thing. The sustained winds have dropped down to 15 miles an hour, which is, that's getting back to normal weather. But because there's still a little rotation around this point, and it's a low pressure center, and the surface circulation is expected to continue to degrade things, it's going to become increasingly hard to find the center by tomorrow, I hope, and hopefully it will just dissipate and be done and let things completely start to dry out. Now, I mean, it's admittedly, folks, this is not like it was, 3 or 4 days ago, 2 days ago, even yesterday, probably in some places. But pressure is 1,010 now, so the pressure keeps going up, which is, of course, obviously a sign of weakness. It's expected to produce maybe another inch to 2 inches across the central Gulf Coast through tomorrow. So, unbelievable. All right, so that's Nicholas. Got 3 other things to look at out there in the Atlantic. Nothing in the Pacific again today, which is a good thing for the Pacific coast. The circulation associated with an area of low pressure located 150 miles east of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, is causing some trouble along the north and east coast of the center. The system will likely become a short-lived tropical depression, maybe a tropical storm, before it makes the transition into a non-tropical gale force low, probably by tomorrow or tomorrow night. From where it is now, it should move northeastward about 15 miles an hour away from the United States. Regardless of development, the system could bring high surf to portions of the mid-Atlantic and northeast U.S. coast and Atlantic Canada through the weekend. So that's the red X right off of Hatteras. Now over there back over toward Africa, showers and thunderstorms remain disorganized in association with a tropical wave and broad area of low pressure located about 1,100 miles west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Environmental conditions are expected to be conducive for development during the next few days. Tropical depression should form over the weekend. System is expected to move westward to west-northwestward at 15 to 20 miles an hour across the tropical Atlantic during the next several days. You're talking, folks, this is a 60%er over the next 48 hours and a 70%er after that. In all likelihood, unless we get a major change in direction, this is probably going to veer off toward the north, toward the Bermuda-ish area. I don't see this thing being able to fight the upper level winds to get over to even to the Leeward Islands. But of course, I could be wrong, totally wrong. But we'll see. The other system just coming off the coast of Africa, you're talking 10% chance in the next 48 hours and only 20% over the next 5 days. So not a whole lot of chance of development with that one. So we do have, we got 2 things to watch in the Atlantic, at least to keep our eye on for another day or two until we get a better idea of where they're heading. So those of you know that I've been talking with quite a few folks on the MSC's problem ship, the Virtuoso. I've actually contacted now 3 of the folks that they got sick and were treated poorly by MSC, and that's the main issue. These guys, again, I can't reiterate enough how much these folks are not anti-cruisers, anti-vaxxers, anti-anything. But, and they love the ship. Many of them have sailed MSC numerous times. and love MSC. But MSC just let their guard down for a couple cruises, and they're paying for it dearly. But anyway, I've got several people now that are willing to come on, and we'll chat about it. So I'll probably set that up maybe tomorrow if I've got some available. I've also asked for somebody from MSC to join us. And I'd like to see a couple of our cruise influencers that maybe will be interested in joining us also for some discussion and talk about what they did wrong and, creative comments on what they can do to fix it and make it better and hopefully not get in that situation again. All right, couple direct cruise line stories, and one of them's going to be MSC here in just a second, but this is up in Alaska. U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski will introduce a bill in Congress next week that would permanently allow foreign flag cruise ships to sail Alaska without the requirement of a stop in Canada. I'm surprised this wasn't done already, but then again, you're dealing with a politician, and you know my feelings about politicians. I thought she would have done this already, quite frankly, but it's going to be introduced next week. Early in the pandemic, Canada banned cruise ships from its ports and waters. The restart date was originally set for February 22, but has since been moved up to November of 21. That gave no comfort to the state of Alaska, as it would have meant a second May to October season with no large ships visiting the state and another round of economic pain for the tourism-dependent state. A shortened 2021 Alaska season from Seattle, of course, is now happening. We've talked about that a bunch. It's happening due to a temporary waiver of the Passenger Vessel Services Act, which prohibits cruise ships departing the U.S. to visit only U.S. ports. Cruise ships have to call at a foreign port, such as Canada, to make sure they follow the act. Cruise ships that sail from Miami cannot go up and land in Port Canaveral, let's say, without going to the Bahamas or a foreign port, any U.S. port. Cruise ship has to call at a foreign port such as Canada to make sure they follow the act. U.S. flagged cruise ships don't have to follow the PVSA. That's the Passenger Vessel Services Act, folks. However, most cruise ships with a capacity of over 1,000 are registered outside the U.S. Now, to my knowledge, there's only one that is flagged U.S., and that's the Pride of America. Pre-pandemic was in Hawaii doing the 7-day Hawaii cruises. In 2019, Alaska hosted 1.3 million cruise visitors. The entire 20 season was wiped out, and they're getting about not even a half season in this year because the ships aren't sailing full capacity. So even the ships that are going now are much less than the visitors they're used to up there. The state says the tourist industry in Alaska typically generates more than $214 million in state and municipal revenue, more than $1.4 billion in payroll, and $2.2 billion in visitor spending. Senator Murkowski was the force behind the Alaska Tourism Restoration Act, which was signed into law May 24th of this year. It offered only a temporary exemption, but made it possible for cruise ships to resume operations between the state of Washington and the state of Alaska for the remainder of the 2021 season, which of course runs until I think there's some scheduled up to the first week of October. The nearly 150-year-old PVSA was created to protect the interests of American shipbuilders and merchant mariners. Murkowski says that while the PVSA still has relevance in the lower 48, it became apparent during COVID-19 pandemic that Alaska needed an exemption so as not to be at the mercy of Canada's regulations. Meanwhile, the province of British Columbia earns nearly 70% of cruise revenue in Canada, almost all of that from Alaska cruise routes. The Port of Vancouver welcomed more than 1 million cruise visitors in 2019. Victoria welcomed close to 800,000. There's been pressure within Canada to lift the ban as well, so far without success. My problem, folks, with any of this, whether it's cruises from Seattle that go to Alaska, or like this picture depicts, cruises go from Vancouver and stop in, there's several ports that they stop in, but basically stopping in Canada. I have no problem with the act and changing it and making it so that you don't have to depend on Canada and what Canada says. No problem at all. My problem with this, folks, is you got politicians on both sides of the border doing this and controlling it and controlling what's going to happen. Both sides, Canadians, Americans, politicians, they're running their mouth. I don't believe a word of it. I see it when I believe it. I hate to be a buzzkill, but like I say, this should have been done immediately. Wow, wait. All right. That's on the MSC Divina. And no, folks, before you get bent out of shape, that is not a current picture with social distancing and so forth and mask wearing on board. That's an old picture, but it's the only one I have. It's not been a great week for MSC with the issues in the UK that I mentioned a few minutes ago. And we're going to talk about that some more, folks. It's going to happen. With some direct comments, direct interviews with some folks that were on one of the two really bad cruises. So we're going to keep our eye on MSC once again, like we did when they first sailed. The MSC Divina becomes the second MSC cruise ship to set sail from the U.S. when it sailed from Port Canaveral yesterday. First in the fleet to ever offer cruises out of that port. Now, if you remember, folks, when Virtuoso first sailed, all eyes were on it, and they did everything right. Because of what's happened, I think all eyes are going to be on the Divina now, even though it's over on this side of the pond, to make sure they continue to do things right. The main difference is our CDC is a lot more active in this, that I can tell, than the UK's health situation over there. So the Divina received CDC approval last week following a test cruise. She's the 11th MSC cruise ship to be operational globally. The occasion marks another successful launch for one of the few cruise lines that have managed to keep at least one vessel operational throughout the majority of last year. In fact, the cruise line has been operational post-pandemic for 13 months. So they didn't miss out on everything, but only for 4 months or so. So they've been way better than anybody else as far as dealing with the conditions in the pandemic. It's just that for some reason they let their guard down and started letting the protocols slide on the Virtuoso, as best I can tell. I don't see the same thing happening on any of their other ships that are sailing. But we're going to tighten up our watch, I'll tell you. Divina offers guests the opportunity for a wide selection of itineraries. The ship is on a 3-day cruise from Port Canaveral to the Bahamas. She'll be back in today she'll make a stop in Nassau and another call on the company's private resort, Ocean Key, MSC Marine Reserve, tomorrow. The Divina will also offer a 4-day cruise where the vessel will remain in Ocean Key for 2 days and have a day in Nassau, and a 7-day cruise that will call at Ocean Key, Cozumel, and Costa Maya in Mexico. So 3, 4, and 7-night cruises on the Divina. The Divina was here pre-pandemic, so a lot of folks in the U.S. have been on Divina, and there's both sides of the MSC story that people have been on Divina. Some people absolutely love it. It's totally different than they're used to in American cruises. Some people absolutely hated it. But so, if you want something a little bit different, the MSC offers that. It's definitely European style cruising as opposed to American style cruising. And I'm, to be perfectly transparent, folks, I was on was going to sail on the Divina last year. That was one of my canceled cruises. So, other MSC news, they've announced that the Bellissima's deployment will be extended in Saudi Arabia and the Red Sea for the winter season up until mid-22. The extension follows a successful inaugural season in the region this past summer. So that's MSC news for today. This is Regent 7 Seas, and again, folks, a line that I know very little about. I've never sailed on it. 7 Seas Splendor sailed from Southampton, marking the return of one of the most luxurious cruise lines in the world. The ship returned to Southampton, cruising. It will return to Southampton on the 22nd, cruising into the new Horizon Cruise Terminal before sailing a 14-night voyage to Barcelona, Spain, visiting Bordeaux, France, and Lisbon, Portugal, among other destinations. 7 Seas Splendor will spend October and November exploring the Mediterranean before crossing the Atlantic for a season in the Caribbean. So she's coming this way, folks. Now, I'll have the 7 Seas Splendor over here on our side of the pond soon, if any of you are interested in that. Again, congratulations to Cruz Amigo Martin. I just think that's awesome. Awesome. Do I have to wear a crown or anything? Do I have to bow Sunday when I did the show with him? Get on my hands and knees and kiss his feet. No, yeah, he's going to be over there in Manchester. The problem was, quite frankly, he got up in London this morning and he's stumbling around saying, "Oh my God, where's Manchester?" So he's got some explaining to do. Carol's with us. Hey, Carol, how you doing today? Cindy is here. Cindy says, "Good morning. Happy Friday. Nothing but rain and clouds in the Sunshine State." Yeah. And some of that's from stupid Nicholas. When I looked at the map, the weather maps this morning, I thought, holy crap, how's that still pulling moisture up from the Gulf and now spreading into Florida? So unbelievable. Oh, well. Everybody's saying congratulations to Martin. I agree. That's cool. Gretchen says, beautiful sunny fall day here. 76 now, 86 for a high. Name that I'm not familiar with. Viva USA, Viva. Okay, thank you. Not familiar with that name. Carol, I'm cruising back-to-back cruises in May 22. Awesome. That's going to Alaska back-to-back. I like that. Hi, everyone. Late but here. That's Nikki. Cindy says, I was almost on Divina 310, but I canceled due to COVID. It did say I was one before shutdown, filed insurance claim, and RC did give money back eventually. Yeah, they were a little slow with that one. I was supposed to be on Divina a little later. I want to say it was April. I had the choice of Meraviglia or Divina. And because of the way my schedule fit, I think it was in April. Might have been even later than that. Might have been May, or I don't remember the date. That's been too long ago now. But anyway, I ended up picking the Divina, and that was one of the cancellations. So Jason's with us. 3 and 4 day back to back on Divina might be an option. Yeah. And I tell you what, some of their prices. Now I haven't looked at the new schedule of Divina yet as far as pricing it. But I mean, that'd be a nice 7 day, doing 2 shorties back to back. If the prices are right, I could see doing that if I can ever get there. Those of you that have been asking, I do have my portable unit finally came. I've got some learning to do and on setting it up and using it yet. But it's here. The one thing that I do know that I didn't know when I ordered this is the oxygen is not adjustable. It does allow me 3 liters continuous flow, which most portable units don't. But that's not adjusted down. So like I've been lowered to 2.5, and it won't, there's not an adjustment on that for less than 3.0. I mean, that's okay. Now, that's not going to hurt me anything. And, it's just that hopefully I can work my way on down to nothing is the hope. But for traveling, that would possibly give me some more options. It's what I'm hoping. Also, quite frankly, one of the good reasons that I'm doing this interview with Ty on Monday on the train, because we've talked a little bit about train travel, and that's one of the things I can do maybe to start traveling a little, like maybe ride the train from here up to DC and do some of the DC things just to get my feet back in the water, so to speak, again. John and I talked about me going to Minnesota to see him. I mean, I don't have plans for that yet, but would be a terrific possibility if I can do some things. And I realize cruise lines are still not going to let me get on a cruise ship yet. That may change. That, of course, would change if my oxygen dependency keeps getting better. So we'll have to see. Anyway. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Appreciate everybody being here. And as always, we appreciate thumbs up. Give me thumbs down too. That's okay. But one or the other is always good for us. It helps the channel a lot. And if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing and doing that bell notification thing so you'll be notified anytime I go live or when I post a video, whether it's one of the shorts or which I'm in a project now on the 50 most popular national parks in the country and doing little short videos on them. Or when I get on cruise ships and the like, some cruise stuff. I have a remake to do on one of my old cruise videos that's out of date and has some inaccurate information that somebody has pointed out to me. So I'm going to do that and remake one of the old ones. So that's all coming up. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up from this end today. Carol says I'll be back to cruising before I know it. Man, I sure hope so. That would be fabulous. So, all right, guys, I will see everybody tomorrow morning, and I'll let everybody, you'll see in the promotional information about tomorrow. If I do get our guests from the Virtuoso tomorrow, or we do that maybe one day next week, I'm flexible on that. So we'll see who's available when. So that's it for today, folks. This is the old fat travel guy. You guys have a great day and a great weekend. See you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Saturday travel and cruise industry news. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.